Welcome to the ANEW Body Insight podcast, empowering and inspiring your journey to optimal health. Hosted by Dr. Supatra Tovar, clinical psychologist, registered dietitian, fitness expert, and author of Deprogrammed Diet Culture. Rethink your relationship with food, heal your mind, and live a diet-free life. And Chantal, Donnelly, physical therapist and author of Settled, How to Find Calm in a Stress-Inducing World. Here at City Club Los Angeles, we follow our guests' journey to optimal health, providing you with the keys to unlock your own wellness path. Tune in and evolve with us. Hello and welcome to the ANEW Body Insight podcast at City Club Los Angeles. I am Dr. Supatra Tovar.
And I am Chantal, Donnelly.
We are very excited to have a former Netherlands Dance Theater dancer and now artist in resident and lecturer in dance, Fiona Lummis, with us today. We all go way back, and we know Fiona, and she's an amazing human. I'm going to read a little bit about Fiona, and then we're going to get going with our questions. Fiona Lummis was a dancer for 20 years with Netherlands Dance Theater. She created roles in 15 of Killian's ballets and in numerous works by many others whose names I cannot pronounce. She danced featured roles in the repertoire of William Forsythe, Jerome Robbins, Lar Lubovitch, and Glenn Tatley. She graduated from the Elmhurst School of Dance and the Rambert School in England, and also has a comprehensive Pilates teaching certificate from Body Arts and Sciences International, and that's how we all met her. I used to be a Pilates teacher for her, which was amazing. So Fiona works closely with the Killian and Van Manen Foundations, teaching their repertoire in colleges, schools, and companies in the U.S. and Europe. Fiona joined the faculty at the USC Gloria Kaufman School of Dance as an artist in residence and lecturer in dance in 2016. She was on the dance faculty of the Los Angeles County High School of the Arts for 15 years and interim co-chair of the dance department of LACSA from 2021 to 2023. She continues teaching at USC Kaufman when she is not staging repertoire elsewhere. Fiona is based in LA and lives with her husband, former NDT dancer and ballet faculty at Cal Arts, Glenn Eddy, and their 2 sons. Welcome, Fiona. Thank you so much.
So happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. It is so exciting to see you. I mean, I think you and I have been Pilates buddies. Met you when you were teaching Pilates at ATP. And then I saw you at my son's middle school and I was like, what are you doing here? And you're like, oh, well, I'm also a mom. So we became mom friends. And then you were a teacher at the same high school that my son was at. So there has just been many different lives that we've lived together. It's nice to see you and just really excited to get to know you and your dance background a little bit more today. So what was it that inspired you to get a career in dance? And can you share your journey from the Elmhurst School of Dance to joining the prestigious Netherlands Dance Theater?
Okay. I will. It's lovely to be here, and it's very special to reconnect with that time in my life when I met you, and it sort of marked the transition from that period of my life to this period of my life, so it feels lovely to be here. So my journey, I'm going to say that I had my elder sister. I have 2 elder sisters, but one of them, Elise, is 13 years older than me, and she pursued dance at school and then through to a career in teaching and performing and opened a school in Barcelona, of all places. So she definitely instilled in me, I want to say, the magic of dance, not just the desire, but she's a wonderful, she opened a sort of creative, imaginative world for me through dance. She's passionate about dance. She's obsessed. And I think I just went along for the ride to begin with. I ended up going to the same school as she did, which happened to be in my hometown. It was called Elmhurst Ballet School. It's now Elmhurst School of Dance, I think, or something. But I went there from the age of 9 to 16. So it's a full-time ballet school, and I'm going to make the analogy it's a little bit like Hogwarts. It was not for magic, but for dance, maybe the same thing. I don't know. But yeah, we danced every day, 2 classes at least in some kind of technique. But it was also theater, acting, drama, art. It was definitely a creative space with a lot of discipline at the same time. It was definitely English boarding school. But it was the right place for me. I loved it. The theater was the center of the school, or that's how I saw it. So I really learned how to perform, I think, really in lots of different ways. I don't think I was necessarily the best dancer. I certainly loved it. And I didn't believe that I would become a dancer, but I just really, it kept working for me. So in England, anyhow, the educational path is at 16, you take your O-levels, OWL levels, which is ordinary levels. I think it's a little bit like American high school diploma, but you take it a little earlier. And then you can narrow down your subject to take your A-levels, and that required going to a different school. And you have to audition at the age of 16. I was quite shy at 16. And it was easier for me to dance and express myself than in any other way, I think. So would have been nice to be a singer, but people could sing much better than me. So, you sort of, you narrow down. So I went to the Rambert School. It was called the Rambert Academy. And it was run by dancers from the Royal Ballet and also a choreographer that was with the Rambert Company at the time called Christopher Bruce. And Christopher Bruce, I'd already seen on television in a documentary, was very inspired. I'd seen some of the work of Rambert Company, so I was very inspired by that. I went there, took my A-levels just in case this dancing thing didn't work out, really. And then I got to audition, and because of Christopher Bruce, he was working with Nederlands Dans Theater, choreographing on that company, and I was basically invited to audition, which sounds so lucky, and it was very lucky. Mm-hmm. So I went and I auditioned for 3 days. Wow. Back, I was barely 18, so I flew over there by myself. And in those days, you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have anything. So there was no way of researching this company, or it was just your gut instinct when you went there. And if they liked you and they gave you a contract, then you had to think about it. And I did like it. I loved the people. They were very funny. There was a lot of Americans in the company, strangely enough. They were very funny people. And there was a sort of lighter atmosphere that I enjoyed. I didn't know how good it was. I could see they were good in class, but I could keep up with that. Anyhow, they offered me a contract, and I actually said, I didn't say, oh, great, can I sign on the dotted line? They handed it to me, and it was in Dutch. So I was a little bit, my father told me, don't sign anything you don't understand. And I took it seriously, and I took it home, and they were a little bit annoyed with me. They gave me 2 weeks. Obviously, I signed, and then I stayed there 20 years, which you never could have told me at the beginning, but it really was the right fit for me, and I met my husband there. So.
They danced together. If you go to their house, you can see all these pictures of them dancing, and I mean, Glenn is a phenom himself, so that's amazing. You had a romance.
It sounds like such a smooth ride, right? But of course, there was a lot of.
That's what I want to know. I want to know the good and the bad. I mean, I know that there's a lot of pressure. There can be a lot of drama. Tell us your most, positive, memorable moments, and then give us an idea of what was not so awesome.
Okay. So positive about being in the company?
Yes.
So definitely, I loved being there. And it was wonderful to be choreographed on and to be part of a creative process, really, that intense focus. And then with some really incredible dancers, you had to keep your game on the whole time. And I just felt like I could keep improving there, which is also important, that you're not just sort of sitting around and floundering. Otherwise, why? It's such hard work to get to such a good level. so I have good memories of that. I have good memories of touring. We toured a lot. What a luxury to able to travel the world, and you're paid to travel the world. I mean, sometimes you didn't see much of it because you were rehearsing or in the hotel. And basically you were seeking food all the time. I seem to remember that was the main aim, was how do we eat before and after, and each country has different timings for that. So that was a major goal. So all of that sounds amazing, but I think to stay at a high level for over a long period of time takes a lot of focus and energy, and there are disappointments. Wonderfully, I'm so old now, I don't remember many of them.
The perks of age.
No, I mean, I'm trying to, it all does sound so shiny, but I was very lucky with injuries. I'm going to say I had very rare injuries. You say I'm going to make you laugh again. I had this ligament broke. I don't know if
Your finger?
my finger, and I was in a cast like this.
That's awesome.
And but it actually stopped me dancing and I couldn't perform because even though you think of dancing that you're not going to use your fingers, they're decorative, but actually there's a lot of partnering work and floor work and you're pushing off, and I couldn't dance. It takes 12 weeks to heal that ligament. I had to do table football. Anyhow, I also got an infected toe, and that gave me a red line all the way up to my thigh.
That's a big infection.
Exactly, which I did not. I remember Glenn took me to the. I was dancing on point and thinking, this is really painful, and I'd really never had that pain before. And I think you woke up one morning and you said, okay, you have to go to hospital. And went to hospital, and I've never fainted, but that was the closest I got to fainting. Was they just said, we have to cut this open, and then they saw the red line. But before that, we'd seen the red line on the foot. Anyhow, so that took a long time to heal. So and then the only other thing I had was jumper's knee, which also took me out for a while. Oh no, and then a broken bone. I had lots of injuries.
Oh, that's all coming back to her now.
Seriously, it's like, oh, nothing.
I was dropped on stage, not really dropped on stage, put down badly from a lift, and it's called a dancer's break. Actually, a lot of sports people and
The
dancers,
metatarsal.
yeah, here, and I kept on dancing because the music was going. What are you going to do? So I heard the crack. You can hear it through your body, which is, but it was this very funny ballet, which I've actually just recently staged. Thank goodness nobody got injured. And there's no time to think. You're just reacting to the music. And I heard the crack, and I was being lifted and jumping around. And I thought something's happened, but I didn't have time. And I had a moment to run off stage because they put powder on your hair, which you come out and shake. And I could have just collapsed then, but your body is just so trained. So I came out, finished the ballet really badly, I think. And then it was the bows, and I was like, I don't think I can walk.
Oh my gosh.
And, the adrenaline kept you going until the end.
I was in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, and then they flew me home to have an operation. I had to have it reset. But it healed really well, so considering I'm still wearing these heels, so there you go.
Well, you have beautiful feet. I mean, that was the one thing when I was training her. I was like, when she'd extend her leg, and then she has this perfect point. Amazing.
And my boys have feet too.
Boys have good feet. I can imagine too that there must be. Maybe I'm just thinking Black Swan. I don't know. But was there? Did you see some of the darker side? I would imagine you would probably see people who might have difficulties with eating.
I think, yes, there's definitely a mental health component to our industry, the dance industry, specifically ballet. But I was in a contemporary ballet company, which is a little more forgiving. So, but yeah, we know people that it was tough for, and it remains tough for them. And transitioning from a career to what we call normal life, which is it normal? Who knows? But is not necessarily an easy transition, and I think that affects some people mentally. It's just really tough, and so I've seen lots of things over the years, yes, and still in touch with people that still struggle. We support each other. There's a network. So I feel lucky in that way. But I had a best friend at the Elmhurst Ballet School, and she was the first anorexic that I'd encountered, and that made a big impact on my life. Yeah. So and the treatment at that time was horrendous.
Yeah.
She was literally carted off, and first of all to a sort of old-fashioned mental institution, and just the wrong way of dealing with it, and then later just drugged up to the eyeballs, so she had no energy and couldn't, they just wanted calories and to fatten her up. I mean, it was,
wow.
horrific. So things have improved, I want to say. Things
they
have really
luckily
improved, so that's the good news.
Did that inspire you to stay healthy with your eating? Did it
I think
affect you?
I was a little obsessed to begin with. I'm going to cite my sister again, who became a vegetarian before it was trendy or very. My parents just thought she was being difficult, but it did inspire me to research. Not eating is not a good option, so I chose a restricted diet. So it was sort of better to have a plan. And that's easy when you're in a disciplined profession, I think, to have a good plan. And luckily there are dietitians and there are people to advise you. But in our days, it was a little bit of just working it out. But I had a sister who was very convinced that this was all things healthy. And I followed that. I think Glenn tried to educate me to get out of that narrow focus, which was also very healthy. But and I think back now, I was a vegetarian for my whole career, which I'm not sure is the right choice, but it kept me healthy, actually. And it wasn't until I was pregnant with my first son that I really craved protein that I think was probably lacking in my body, and I became a meat eater after that. So I really did a sort of chunk of vegetarian and then a chunk of meat eating. So I think there's much more research and good research into what's right for your body type. And it wasn't made available to me at the time. But eating and sleeping is essential to an athlete or to anybody that's going to go into physical work.
Or anyone.
Anyone. But
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds like you ended up on the healthier side of things. Just having the vegetarian mindset at least kept you eating,
Yes.
right? Because you knew what to eat versus staying away from food entirely. So, yay, big sister. We like your big sister.
Shout out to Elise.
Yay.
Well, my other sister and brother yes, thank you. They just were sort of holding their breath, I think, in the
Yeah. I've been told,
Okay.
correct me if I'm wrong here, you created roles in 15 of Killian's ballets. Is that true?
I obviously went and counted them, yes. At some stage. Yeah.
And apparently there's been some other renowned choreographers, and your work was what was it like working with such influential figures in the dance world?
So
I don't know who they are, but I've been told that they are super influential. So.
There you go. Well, at the time we didn't, they're just people in the studio, so they don't come in with a big, train of importance around them. It's actually, when we were at Nederlands Dans Theater, they were only beginning to become renowned. Now they're even more recognized. So, and again, no YouTube, no Instagram, no instant fame, right? So it was just, dance magazines, literally how many reviews, how many, newspaper articles there were. Yuri Killian, the company went, I think it was in 79 and 80. Glenn can tell me the dates. Well, it was Spoleto, right? That was anyhow, there was a huge breakthrough with Yuri Killian's work with Sinfonietta, and it really hit the dance world. It was an explosion. It was such a good culmination of classical ballet training with actually American modern dance training, and with an incredible imagination from Yuri and an incredible musicality. It was almost as if the dance world was crying out for this particular piece. It just hit at the right time, and that did open up that world of dance, and we're still recognized for that time. But then he continued to create kind of these amazing works that within the dance world are really sought after and recognized. So I didn't know it at the time, but you did know that you were doing something worthwhile. I mean, there's an awful lot of choreography out there, you know, that it can be great, but you were aware that we were in this working atmosphere that was intense and focused and rewarding. It was a good working process, and I had a lot of fun actually in the studio. We were sometimes making very serious pieces, you know, mostly about love and death. But we were having fun, you know. It was because you spend a lot of time. It takes a long time to make a piece and a lot of hours. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been recognized in so many ways. You have won prestigious awards such as the Guden Theater Dance Prize.
There you go.
And the Oeuvre Prize. Did I say that right?
Pretty close, yeah.
Okay. So how did these awards impact your career? What did you see come from these amazing accolades?
I think it's just nice to be recognized, and Netherlands, anywhere, anytime, everybody. But Netherlands Dance Theater as a whole was more recognized for its choreography, and the dancers were always complimented, but definitely as a whole, we were all sort of complimented as artists and complimenting the choreography. So it was, in that case, very complimentary to be singled out as one artist among some excellent artists. So in that way, it gave me a boost. I'm also going to say I didn't win prizes. You know, I didn't think I was one of those person that won prizes at school, or, you know, so in that way, that was kind of nice, you know. And yeah, and the Oeuvre Prize came at a good time because that was sort of towards the end of my career, and I was just thinking, you know, you're looking for the next transition, so for someone to pull you out and say thank you in a way was really.
What was it for?
It was really for my time dancing. So the first one is the Golden Theatre Dance Prize, and that's you're selected by critics from all the theatres to get the award, which is really nice. And then this one is there's these famous dancers from Holland. They were the sort of the Margot Fonteyn and Nureyev of Holland, and they dance with Nureyev actually, and that's Han and Lex, Han Ebler and Lex Radius. Couldn't say her name there for a second. Anyhow, beautiful dancers, and they award this prize every year, or mostly every year. And so that was, and I had worked with Han Ebler when I was just fresh in the company, and I didn't know they were following me, or, you know, it was a nice thank you present, I think. So wow. that was good. I think I might have been pregnant when they gave it to me. With Jack.
Wow.
So I was already transitioning, yeah.
And you have been featured in many art house films of Kilian's ballets and recordings of Hans van Manen's work. Am I saying that one correctly?
You are.
Okay. How do you feel about your performances being immortalized in film?
Yeah, it's horrendous. No, it's not. I'm really grateful that I'm on film and that we made those films, because it is a sort of a record of that time. It's actually such a different animal to film dance than it is to perform, and it's a different skill set. I really loved the sort of beginning, middle, and end of a performance that you build up, you rehearse, you have this one shot at it, you prepare yourself mentally. I think it's like a sporting event or music recital. It's something, and you normally have a second chance to improve on it and learn from it. Whereas when you're filming, it's as if you're doing a premiere performance of a very tiny little section that they're going to film, and you can do it 18 times, and you've no control of which take they're going to take, and you're not going to like the one they choose, that's for sure. And then also when I did the Van Manen, again, I'm going to talk about pregnancy and children, but there was two pieces that were made on me earlier, and then by the time they came to film it, I'm just pregnant in one, and then just after pregnant in the second one. So not the timing I would have chosen to be put on a unitard. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. But I'm very grateful that they're out there, and I was also famously, I never liked watching myself on video. I found it very confusing, because it's a very two-dimensional take of a three-dimensional art form, and it's just, you're horribly critical of yourself. That's part of the profession. I mean, that's how you get better. But now I think people are much more savvy and adept at using video to help them improve. So it's not a bad thing. It just, in my day, I could have ignored it totally. Yeah.
Well,
but now I can look back and say it's good.
if anyone can rock a unitard, it is you. Yes.
That was traumatic. Many. Too many unitards in my life. There you go.
Well, we are almost out of time for this half of our episode, but we are so excited to speak more with you in the next part. But we really thank you for joining us. And we will be coming back for the second half of this very thought-provoking interview with the luminary Fiona Lummis. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning into the ANEW Body Insight podcast. Please remember, the content shared on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. You can find us anywhere podcasts are streaming, on YouTube at my.anew.insight and at anew-insight.com under the ANEW Body Insight podcast tab. Follow us on our socials at my.anew.insight on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more updates. Tune in next time and evolve with us.